Welcome to Live DAF, your online DAF Yomi Shir.
Shalom Aleichem and welcome back. Today's DAF is Bava Metzia Pei Beis. We are on Pei Aleph Amud Beis, 7 lines from the bottom of the Amud. Hilvahu ala mashkin shamesh sachar. So in the Mishnah we learn, if Ruvain lends Shimon money in exchange for a mashkin, for a collateral, what status does Ruvain have with respect to guarding that mashkin? Is he a shemer chinam? Because after all, he's watching it, free of charge. In which case, he's only responsible for outright negligence, for pshia. Anything less than that, suppose it was stolen or lost, he's not responsible. But the Mishnah says, no, he's a shemer sachar. It's as though he's getting a fee for guarding the item. He's getting some benefit. And therefore, his responsibilities rise. They grow. He has an elevated sense of achrayus. He has to look after the item to the extent that if it gets lost or stolen, he's responsible. It's as though he's getting paid a fee for being shomer of the item. Really? Says the Gemara, it would appear. At this point, is not consistent with Rabbi Lezer, the Sanya, as we went to the Brisa. Hamal ves chaver ala mashkin. If one lends in exchange for a mashkin, the mashkin gets lost. No worries. Yeshava, all he does is swear that he was not peisheya, he wasn't careless, he's not to be faulted, and there you go. That exempts him, that exonerates him. And he'll still get back his loan. So loss of the mashkin does not cost him anything, because he's like a shemer chinam. If he was not peisheya, he's patur. Divrei, whose shita is that? Rabbi Lezer. Rabbi Kiva disagrees. Rabbi Kiva Omer is like a shemer sachar. He's responsible. Yachol leimer lois. So Shimon, the owner of the mashkin, can tell Reuven, look, klum hilvisani el mashkin. You remember? You recall? You lent me the money in exchange for the mashkin. So the mashkin is under your care. You lose it. You lose the money. Avada mashkin of the moisecha. You lose the mashkin. You lost your money. So our Mishnah, which says that he's a shemer sachar, seems to be in line with Rabbi Akiva and not Rabbi Lezer. And the Brisa continues, Aval hilavo elav zuz. But all would agree in the following case. Suppose Reuben lent him $1,000. Bishtar, and he got a document to certify this loan, to document the loan, which now pretty much gives him a secure avenue, a secure route of collecting that loan, collecting that debt. So in this case, nobody can say, well, the only reason why I have the mashkin is Rashi calls it zecharin dvarim, so that you remember about the loan, you remember that you owe me money. Evidently, that's not the point, because he already has a mashkin to keep the loan fresh and on the table. So here, all agree that if at this point he got a mashkin, the mashkin here was sort of like a prepayment. It was like sort of a partial payment, right? And all agree in this case, he's like an owner. He's fully responsible for that item. He's like a shomer sachar. Divrei HaKol all agree in this case. Even Rabbi Lezer agrees that it's under his care and he's responsible, and therefore avat hamashkin of the ma'isaf. He loses the mashkin, he loses the money. So bottom line, we have 2 cases. He lent him in exchange for a mashkin, which he got at the time of the loan. Rabbi Lezer says, it's not really meant as a prepayment for that loan. It's just meant to sort of, remind the borrower about the loan, lest he forget. But after all, the lender is just a shemer chinam. He's watching it free of charge. Rabbi Kiva considers that like partial payment. So if you lose it, you lose the money. All agree if he got the mashkin at a later date, that certainly was meant as guvaina, as for payment, tentative payment. So he loses that, the value. Bottom line, our Mishnah says, you're guarding a mashkin, you're a shemer sachar. Is that consistent with Rabbi Lezer, who seems to say that he's merely a shemer chinam and not responsible for this mashkin? Afilu temer Rabbi Lezer. You know what? Our Mishnah can fall in line even to Rabbi Lezer. But like Kash, and the answer is like this. It depends when he took possession of the mashkin. Kan shemishkanai b'shas havasei. Rabbi Lezer in the Brisa is discussing where he got the mashkin at the time of the loan. In which case, It wasn't meant as prepayment. It wasn't meant as. It was just meant to serve as a constant reminder to the loiva that he has to pay up that loan. But the malver is merely a shemer chinam on that item. But in the Mishnah by us, where we consider him a shemer sachar, he's having some hana, some benefit from this item. Is speaking shemishkene shloi b'shasava also. He collected that mashkin at a later date, way past the loan issuance. In which case, Rashi says, he went to the Bezdin and he demanded the loan, repayment of the loan. The fellow wasn't forthcoming. So the Bezdin granted him the right to, seize this item. Rashi says, the last line of Rashi, certainly in this case, it's considered l'guvaynei shakli. He took it as payment. So certainly in this case, it's under his care. He's like an owner. He's responsible for the item. Says the Gemara, how could you say that the Mishnah is speaking about one instance, the Brisa, another instance, v'idi. Well, both in the Mishnah and the Brisa, we use the same language to describe the story. Hilvo ala mashkin ketani. It says he lent him in exchange for the mashkin, and Rashi says bish'as halva amashma. That sounds like it's happening simultaneously. It's happening on site. As he's lending him, he's getting the mashkin. Not at a later date. Ella rather, says the Gemara, let's try another idea. Loikasha, the way to answer is like this. Kan shilvo mois. The Brisa, where Rabbi Yehuda considers him a shemer chinam because he's not getting any hana from this mashkin, is where he lent him money in exchange for the mashkin. He has nothing more than just a mitzvah. So he's treated like a shemer chinam. He's not really responsible for the item. Kan shilvo peres. The Mishnah, which considers him a shemer sachar, is discussing a case where he lent him bananas, which were about to, they're going to spoil sooner or later. So actually, the owner has some hana, he has benefit from this transaction. In which case, when he gets the mashkin in exchange for the loan, he's considered a shemer sachar because he has some residual gain, and he's more responsible. So that's the case in the Mishnah. 1 second, but the Mishnah itself later on brings a different opinion, which makes that distinction between Peiros and Mois, which sounds like the Tanakama is not submitting to that distinction, right? Let's move on to the next part of our Mishnah. We have Rabbi Yehuda Hilvo Mois Shemer Chinam Hilvo Peiros Shemer Sachar. Depends if you lent him money, the Shemer Chinam, fruit Shemer Sachar. Mechlal the Tanakama leishani. Clearly, the Tanakama, who considers him a straight Shemer Sachar, is not making that distinction. How can we posit otherwise? No, says the Gemara, the entire Mishnah is Rabbi Yehuda speaking. Who makes that distinction? Kula Rabbi Yehuda. V'chesura mechsra v'chitani. And the Mishnah is meant to be learned as though it's missing some words, and learn it like this. We begin, Hilavo ala mashkin shemer sachar. If we lent him in exchange for a mashkin, he's a shemer sachar. B'med dvar mamurim. When is that true? Only shilvo peres, when he lent him peres, where he has benefit from this whole transaction. Aval hilvo moy shemer chinam. If it was just money, he's a shemer chinam. She Rabbi Yehuda, because as we know, Rabbi Yehuda makes this distinction between hilvo mois, where he's a shemer chinam, and hilvo peres, where he's a shemer sachar. So in summation, at this point, we're saying that the Mishnah considers a monetary loan in exchange for a mashkin as a shemer chinam, whereas a Peiros loan in exchange for a mashkin, a shemer sachar. So it fits well with Rabbi Yehuda in the Brisa, who considers it a shemer chinam because he's only speaking about money. But Rabbi Akiva in the Brisa apparently disagrees. Even by a monetary loan, he's a shemer sachar. Yach, if that's the case, Kamala mas nisin like Rabbi Akiva. Turns out that our Mishnah, which considers a monetary loan in exchange for a mashkin as a shemer chinam, as opposed to Rabbi Akiva in the Brisa, which considers him a shemer sachar. We know, says Rashi, that typically all these stam mishnahs, the anonymous mishnahs, follow Rabbi Akiva, who is the grand Rebbe of Rabbi Meir, of Rabbi Yehuda, of Rabbi Shimon, who authored the Mishnayos and the Sifras and the Sifri, right? So to say that our Mishnah is not consistent with Rabbi Akiva, it's a bit difficult to assume. Mas nisan look Rabbi Akiva. You're right. Ella rather machvarta. The true and correct approach is the mas nisan to look Rabbi Yehuda. Let's go back to step 1. Our Mishnah is speaking about a monetary loan, and he still considers shemer sachar, and that works with Rabbi Akiva in the Brisa because we treat it like partial payment, like prepayment, for that loan, and therefore he's a shemer sachar, and it's not going to work with Rabbi Eliezer, who considers him merely a shemer chinam. Now, once we have that established, what about the why? What's the machlekes about? Why shemer chinam? Why shemer sachar? Lema, perhaps we can suggest, but the leishavi mashkin shir zuzi, that firstly, the mashkin that he took doesn't have the same value as the loan. He lent him $1 million, the mashkin was only worth $50. Uba the shmol kamiflegi, in the machlekes, of whether the lender is responsible for the mashkin, revolves around Shmuel's halacha. Damar Shmuel. Shmuel is a grand chiddush. Listen to this. Hayman da oisvei alfa zuzi l'chavrei. Reuben lent $1,000 to Shimon. Va'anach leikata de magla iluyayu. And Shimon just presented him with a handle of a tool, of a sickle. Pretty cheap collateral. Va'anach leikata, the handle de magla of a sickle iluyayu, as a security on that loan. So Shmuel holds that being that Reuben accepted this $5 item as a collateral for the $1 million loan, it's as though he's assuming full responsibility, and he's willing to accept that if he loses the handle, the collateral is like a loan. He loses the collateral, he loses the entire loan, the full $1 million. Of a kata de mal, he lost the tool. Of the alpha zuzi, he lost the full loan. And that would be Rabbi Akiva's opinion. What Rabbi Eliezer holds, no. Actually, since it's only worth $5, it doesn't relate to the loan. It's not meant as a security on the loan. It's just meant like, Rashi says, he's just holding it so that, we recall the loan, we know about the loan, we remember about the loan. Of course, if he loses it, he's not responsible. He's just a shemer chinam. So that seems to be the machlekes, but which is a bit, difficult, because typically halacha presented by an amoira like Shmuel is not usually connected to a machlekes tanoim. So as they were, okay, let's back away from that. If in fact the mashkin doesn't have the value of the actual loan amount, the kuli alma leslo de Shmuel, perhaps nobody would agree with Shmuel that he loses the entire thing. Rabbi Eliezer would hold he doesn't lose anything. He would lose at least just that much, $5, not more than that, because the shemer sachar. Oh, here we're speaking that actually the mashkin had the full value of the loan. $1 million loan, he got a Ferrari, $1 million car. And the machlekes revolves around Rabbi Yitzchak. Rabbi Yitzchak holds, when you take a mashkin into your possession, you're fully responsible. You're like an owner. Rashi says, even an accident, even an oinus. And that's the machlekes. Rabbi Yitzchak says, how do we know that's true? The pasuk says, when you return the mashkin there, so the fellow can use it at night when he needs it. The Torah considers it an act of charity. The Torah gives you credit for giving him back the mash. Well, if it's not yours, if it's not really yours, how do we consider it stuck? I mean, like you're doing it stuck with somebody else's thing? We learn from here that he's like an owner. Okay, so that's the machlekes. Rabbi Eliezer holds, Rabbi Akiva holds over Rabbi Yitzchak. He's like the owner, he's fully responsible. If it gets lost, it's his loss. Whereas Rabbi Eliezer disagrees. V'tispra, really, how can you suggest to connect these two things? Aim with Rabbi Yitzchak. You know when Rabbi Yitzchak says his idea? See the pasuk there about the mashkin speaking that it was after the fact. He had already lent him the money, and then later on he's looking to collect his loan. Now the Bezdin gave him the right to collect the mashkin, etc. So there, it's l'guvaina, it's meant as a collection. Of course it's yours, of course you're responsible. But in our case we're speaking, right, like we said before, it was hilvo ala mashkin. He took the mashkin as he was lending him the money. It's a totally different context. There, who says he's considered the owner? It's just like a temporary, a hold on an item so that we ensure payment. It's not considered like a collect. It's not part of the collect. It's not a payment for the loan, not partial payment. Also, you're right. If you took the mashkin later on down the road, everybody would accept Rabbi Yitzchak's idea because it's considered partial payment. You consider the owner, you're fully responsible. But in our case, we're speaking about actually, he got it at the time of the loan issuance. And the machlekes, Rabbi Lezer Mekiva revolves around a famous shaila. What status does a Shemer Aveda have? A person finds a lost item in the street. He's holding on to it for the owner. He's doing a mitzvah. What status does he have? Is he a Shemer Chinam? Because after all, he's not getting paid for it. Or is he a Shemer Sachar? Why is he Shemer Sachar? Because since he's involved in a mitzvah, when a person is involved in a mitzvah, it exempts him from doing any other mitzvahs. Patur min mitzvah, you only have, capacity for one mitzvah at a time. So now let's say, at that point, a poor man knocks on his door, he's exempt. It exempts him from giving tzedakah, so he sort of saves that penny. So he's gaining from doing this mitzvah. That's why he's a shemer sachar, and that elevates his responsibility to the point that he has to watch it even better. And the same with a mashkin. We treat it like an aveda. After all, you're watching the other fellow's item, which you've taken in exchange for the loan. You're just doing a mitzvah. What status do you have? The itmaz we learn. Shemer aveda. What status does a shemer aveda have? Rabba Amar, shemer chinam. It's not so common to have a man knocking on your door at that time. You're not really getting paid. You're shemer chinam. Rabbi Yosef Amar, shemer sachar. Rabbi Yosef says it's a shemer sachar, and that seems to be machlekes Rabbi Lezer Mekiva here as well. Is it shemer chinam or shemer sachar? So it's pretty clear that according to Rabbi, there's no way out, because Rabbi holds that a shemer aveda is shemer chinam, and Rabbi Kiva Bayas, who considers him more than a shemer chinam, cannot be working with Rabbi. It's a machlekes Tanaim. But Rabbi Yosef, who says that a shemer aveda is a shemer sachar, must he exceed that it's a machlekes Tanaim? Lema the Rabbi Yosef Tanai, must we say that Rabbi Yosef, who holds that a shemer aveda is a shemer sachar, is really dependent on this machlekes Tanaim? No, loy. Right? Perhaps when it's your standard classic Shemer Aved, everybody would agree with Rabbi Yosef, Rabbi Lezer would agree, Rabbi Kiva would agree that is a Isaac mitzvah, that exempts him from giving tzedakah, he's getting some benefit from it, he's a Shemer Sach. But in our case, we're speaking about a unique type of situation. The lender took the mashkin, right, to secure the loan, but actually, as Rashi says, he's doing the loiver a favor because it's a nice car. He's using it, and by doing so, deducting from the loan. So he's making use of it, but it's within the context of the loan, which is really a mitzvah. So there's two ways to look at it. Mar sava mitzvah ka'avid. Rabbi Kiva holds. Rabbi Kiva holds. Yeah, he's still doing a mitzvah. Shalavo. After all, how did he get this car? Why is he getting involved in this whole thing? Because he lent the poor guy money. He's doing a mitzvah, so he's still considered Isaac mitzvah, which exempts him from doing other mitzvahs, which gets him that hana from, by sparing him the tzedakah. At the end of the day, it's a shemer sachar. V'ave shemer sachar. Whereas Rabbi Lezer disagrees. After all, how did I get myself into this? I didn't need a Ferrari. I wanted to lend the person. I was doing a mitzvah. Umar savar mitzvah ka'avid. Sorry, actually, Rabbi Lezer holds the fact is, true, you did a mitzvah initially, but now you have the nice car and you're enjoying yourself. You're having a no. So it's not considered a pure mitzvah act anymore. You're right now having a no from this item. Shalom asim miskaven. He's having a no from it. He's using it. So he's no longer considered Isaac mitzvah, and therefore he's not patur from mitzvah. And therefore, if an ani comes knocking on his door, he has to get the tzedakah. So he's not really gaining that benefit. V'ave shemer chinam. Therefore, he's considered shemer chinam, and he's not really responsible for anything more than absolute carelessness. So, bottom line, Mishnah says a shemer. A mashkin is a shemer sachar. We have a brisa. Rabbi Lezer says shemer chinam. Rabbi Kiva says shemer sachar. We had several attempts at lining up the Mishnah and the brisa and explaining it. At the end of the day, we're saying that this really is connected to the classic question of a shemer aveda, and shemer mashkin, in our case, is considered like a shemer aveda. That would be one way to learn. Or in a case where he's using the mashkin, is it considered shemer chinam or shemer sach? Abashol ayman mutar la'adam lahasker mashkoin shalami li'ois peiches v'hoilach. You lent an ani money. You have a mashkin. You can do him a favor by renting the item out and using the rent to and applying the rent towards the loan, deducting as you're going along, which really helps the ani. Amar Rav Chanan bar Amem Shmuel, halacha is kabashol. That's what we do. Va'af abashol amar. But the truth is that abashol only allowed the system el b'mara, psal, v'kardim, only if you have heavy duty tools like a mara, like a shovel, a psal, like a carpenter's plane, v'kardim, an axe, which are heavy duty durable items. Hoyel v'nafesh agray, which that can earn a nice income for the owner, which will be applied towards his outstanding balance of his zuter p'chasayu, and the wear and tear is very minimal, so it makes for a good financial proposition. Hamaver chavis, says the Mishnah, makom l'makom. A person was entrusted with his fellow's barrel of wine. He's transporting it from one place to the other as per to keep it safe or whatever. V'shibra, and it dropped and it broke. Bein shemer chinam, bein shemer sachar, whatever he is, a shemer chinam, a shemer sachar. All he has to do is swear yeshava that he wasn't trying to be careless and he's not a pesheya, and that makes him potter. Rav Lezer Omer, actually, that's what I heard from my teachers as well. I heard like the Tanakama, which is typically Rav Meir, right? Stamishin is Rav Meir. Zev is a yeshava, correct? That's what I heard as well. But Tamiani, I'm wondering how does this work? Maybe a shemer chinam, okay, he's only chayev for pshia, which he claims he didn't do. But a shemer sachar, I understand it's not a pshia, but a shemer sachar has more responsibilities than a shemer chinam. He's chayiv even by geneva v'aveda if it gets lost or stolen, and this is comparable to that. You can't say it's a full outright accident. I mean, he was holding it, he slipped, he dropped. So at least the shemer sachar have to pay for this. I'm wondering if both individuals, shemer chinam and shemer sachar, can simply get away with a shvua. How does that work? We'll see the Gemara. Why Rabbi Lezer was arguing. Tana Rabban. So now we have a brayso which pretty much repeats the Mishnah with a little bit of elaboration. Another shita. Okay, he's transporting his friend's barrel from place to place. If a shiba and he cracked it, he broke it. Bein shemer chinam, bein shemer sachar yishava. Right? The Meir holds, whatever you are, just swear that you didn't mean to do it. It wasn't carelessness. It wasn't negligence, and you're okay. Rabbi Yehuda Omer shemer chinam yishava. Rabbi Yehuda says, look, I understand that a niskal, a person who tripped, is not a pesheya. You can't hold it against him. So a shemer chinam can just swear that it was an accident and he's good. But noisei sachar yishalim, a person who's getting paid, he should be extra careful. It's not like it was an oines. You can't say it was an outright beyond his control, a total accident. I mean, he could have been more careful. So it's somewhere in the middle of the spectrum. On the one side you have pesheya, the other side you have oines, and this is somewhere in the middle. So a shemer sachar should be responsible. And Rabbi Lezer, he agrees with Rabbi Yehuda. He says, Zev is a yeshava. Truthfully, I heard like Rabbi Meir that they're both exempt through a shvua, but I'm not sure how this works. So Tamiani, im yecholen zev is a yeshava. How could that be? Okay, so bottom line, the remainder of the Savar Rabbi Meir, it would appear that Rabbi Meir holds niskal when a person trips over, lav pesheya. We don't hold it against him, and that's why he says a shemer chinam. A shemer sachar even is pata. We treat it like an oines, right? V'atanya, but listen to this brayso that we had back in Bava Kama, if you remember. Hanishbara kadivle silka. He's walking down the street and his container falls and breaks, and he fails to clean up. Nafla gamle v'lehimida. His camel collapses. He fails to get it out of the way, and somebody trips on and hurts himself. Rabbi Meir mechayv be'azekan. According to Rabbi Meir, he's fully responsible. Why? Niskal pesheya. When you trip, it's your fault. You should be looking out and not tripping. Okay, in Bezdin we can't obligate you, but in Shamayim they'll hold it against you. And we learned over there, Machlekes revolves around how to treat a niskal. First, no trips. Is he at fault or not? Or Meir seems to say yeah, which is totally inconsistent with our Mishnah and our brayso. Well, we don't hold it against the shemer chinam and even shemer sachar for tripping. Amar Rav Lezer, you're right, Tavra. We have to break them apart. We have to disconnect our sugya with that sugya. There are two versions in Rav Meir, two shittas in what Rav Meir held. Misha shamazu la shamazu. The tan of this brayso is going on a different track than the Tana of that other brisa. Bottom line is, over here, Rabbi Meir holds, Niskal is not Pesheya, we don't hold it against him. That's Rabbi Meir's Shita. And then we have Rabbi Yehuda in the brisa. Rabbi Yehuda disagrees, he takes issue, he says, Shem Mechinim Yishav, I understand that a Niskal isn't necessarily, an outright Pesheya, but he's somewhere in the middle. Right? Again, we have Pesheya on the right side, with Einis on the left, and this fellow is somewhere in the middle. It's like, semi-accident. Shem Mechinim, okay, he can swear and walk off. But a person who's getting paid to watch this item, he has a higher degree of responsibility, he has to pay for this. Each individual, consistent with his level of responsibility. That's Shita number 2. Come Shita number 3 is Rabbi Lezer. Correct. Gemara Rameir. I also heard from my teachers like Rameir, that whatever you are, you make a shvua and you walk off. But I'm wondering how this works. Tameyani. How could it be that both individuals could just walk away with a shvua? I understand how Hashem Echinu can do that. He swears that he wasn't negligent. That's enough for him. But Hashem Esachar, how is a shvua sufficient for him? Look, Kilei Pasha Nami, even if he wasn't careless, Nami Shalumi boy, but he has to still pay. It's no worse than the item which got stolen or lost, which obligates Hashem Esachar. And you know what? Even Hashem Echinam, I'm not so sure how this works. Suppose, he was walking down a slope, he slipped. Okay, you understand? That's pretty close to Einis, can't hold it against him. But if there was no slope, a straight street, clear day, right? How can he get up and swear, I didn't do anything wrong? Rashi says, what are you doing tripping on a flat street? And you know what? Even if it was a slopey area, where you can say it was an accident, he couldn't help himself. But why is a shvua enough to exempt him? Okay, that's if he's going in a quiet place, there's nobody around, no witnesses, so a shvua exempts him. But there are people watching, it's a middle of the street. Nesi, Raya v'niftar. There we should obligate him, we should require him to bring witnesses to prove his case. The sign is Isi ben Yuda Omer. Okay, if something happened, an accident, there's nobody around, so they make a shvua and they're done. But if there are witnesses around, Yavi Raya v'yipota, he has to bring Adam. So that's Rabbi Lezer's shita here. He says, look, fact is, I know Rav Meir is substantiated and all that, but I'm not sure how this works. So according to this first approach in the Gemara, second approach is coming up soon. According to the first approach, Rav Meir and Bava Kama holds Niskal Pesheya. Rav Meir over here, if Bava Metzia holds Niskal is an Einis, and therefore it exempts Hashem Echinam and Hashem Esachar. Rabbi Yehuda says a Niskal, a person who trips, it's not an Einis. It's like somewhere in the middle. He's partially responsible. It's good enough for Hashem Echinam to be potter, but not Hashem Esachar. Rabbi Lezer comes back and says, you know what, I heard like Rav Meir, that's what I was taught as well, but I'm not sure how this works. Rabbi Chia bar Abba Rabbi Yechlan. Here comes Rabbi Chia in the name of Rabbi Yechlan. Remember we had this kasha, because over here in Bava Metzia, we seem to say, according to Rabbi Meir, you trip, you're not at fault. Whereas in Bava Kama, he is faulted with tripping. How do you work this out? Says Rabbi Yechlan, guess what? Fundamentally, Rabbi Meir holds that a niskal is a pesheya, but there's a special allowance in this case, where he's tending to his friend's barrel, he's doing a favor, he's looking after it, he's trying to be helpful. Shvua azu, the reason why he gets off the hook by just swearing that he wasn't negligent, why is that enough? Takanas chachamim, it was a special takana established by the chachamim to encourage chesed, right, to facilitate acts of kindness. Because otherwise, if you hold him responsible, he'll never help his friend for fear of perhaps dropping his item and having to pay. Nobody's want to help each other. So technically, he's really responsible because niskal is a pesheya. Why'd you trip? But we give him a special allowance because he was trying to help him out. Now the question is, so what is he swearing about? I mean, if we say tripping equals carelessness, what's he going to swear? I wasn't careless. I was. Amarava, different levels of carelessness. Look, I didn't mean it. I mean, maybe you consider me responsible. I should have been more careful. But you can't say I did it purposely. And that's what he's swearing. That's Rabbi Meir's Shita. Also, Rabbi Yehuda comes Rabbi Yehuda and says, I hold that Niska, when you trip, you're not really considered a Pesheya. So you're not there. But on the other hand, you're not really an Oines. You're not fully exempt. You're somewhere in the middle, like we said before. And therefore, that's good enough for a Shem Chinam, but not for a Shem Sachar. Shem Chinam Yishaba. Shem Chinam will swear. If it's a Sachar, Yishalom will have to pay. Haikidine, each one according to his level of responsibility. V'as Rabbi Lezer Meir, comes Rabbi Lezer and says, in Gemara Rabbi Meir, I also heard like Rabbi Meir. I'm not sure how this works. Because Rabbi Lezer seems to go with Rabbi Yehuda's approach. That, he's somewhere in the middle. I'm not sure how both individuals can get away with just a shvuah. I understand that a Shem Achinim can swear that he didn't do the pshia. But a Shem Sachar should be responsible for this level of negligence. And how could he make a shvuah? Even if he was not really careless, but he's still responsible for this level of mini carelessness. Right, like we said before, even a Shem Achinim, how's he going to suffice with a shvuah? That's good when he was walking down a slope, he wasn't responsible, he wasn't careless, he just slipped. But if he was going down a flat surface, he's fully careless. How could he swear otherwise? And even if he was going down a slope, he's not really responsible. That's good when there's nobody around, so he has to swear, and that's good enough. If there are people around, he can use witnesses. He should be obligated to bring witnesses to support his case. The Tani, right? When there's nobody around, a shvuah suffices. But if there are some people around and he can use them as witnesses, he can't just suffice with the shvuah. Yavi raya yavi pater. Okay, bottom line, what we learned today, we have the story about a malval mashkin, Shem Achinim, Shem Sachar. We had several ways of explaining the machlokes. We have the Mishnah of a fellow traveling with, walking around with carrying a barrel. It dropped, broke. We have three shitas. Rabbi Meir who says just make a shvuah and walk. Rabbi Yehuda says Shem Achinim can do so, not a Shem Sachar. Rabbi Lezer says actually I was taught like Rabbi Meir. I'm not sure how this works. We had a Gemara Bava Kama, which seemed to be inconsistent with our Mishnah. We had two ways of reconciling the two sukkis. All the best, Yivan Atzlacha Rabbah.